We know which wide receivers the Chicago Bears should look at this offseason, but what about the receivers that they should look to avoid? Let's talk about that. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit the big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms, guys. And as always, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, let's get into it. All right, people, as I've been telling you, this is a crucial offseason for us to be able to build a team around Justin Fields and surround him with the right pieces. And I've talked about a lot of those pieces that I like. But let's talk about guys that I'm trying to actively avoid. I'm talking about receivers that I do not want, right? Because I've told you the receivers that I do want and the ones that I am a fan of. Let's talk about the ones I don't want, okay? And I got 3 receivers for you, maybe 4, we'll see. Because one of them really isn't a free agent, if you will. But you'll see, all right? Let's talk about the first receiver on the board that I do not want the Chicago Bears to go after, and that is Juju Smith-Schuster. Yes, that's right, Juju Smith-Schuster, who is a big TikTok guy, if you will, loves stepping on teams' logos. Yeah, that Juju Smith-Schuster. But in all seriousness, folks, on the football field, he just does not fit the type of receiver I want with Justin Fields. He's a guy who cannot go deep. He's not a vertical threat. He's a guy who gets all of his receptions underneath, a very low ADOT guy, and I want to be able to get a vertical passing game going. I've told you guys that all offseason long. And Juju, again, had another injury last season. He looks to be a little injury prone now, and he's still relatively young. It's not an age thing. It's more of the type of receiver that he is, the type of receiver that I want to surround Justin Fields with. And Juju just doesn't possess those qualities. And again, the commitment on the field, sometimes you do question that because of everything that Juju does off the field in terms of that factor. But it's not as much of my reasoning as it is the type of receiver Juju is, okay? He can be had for cheap, but I'd rather go for somebody with a better skill set for Justin Fields. So number 1 on the list, I don't want Juju Smith-Schuster. Number 2 on the list, okay? I don't want Odell Beckham Jr. I love OBJ. I'm a big OBJ fan, all right? I was rooting for OBJ and the Rams, obviously in the Super Bowl because they were my pick, and what a redemption story it was for OBJ after, the days in Cleveland when it just looked like him and Baker were not on the same page, and OBJ now has won a Super Bowl, and Baker Mayfield is doing what Baker Mayfield does in Cleveland, okay? Point is, Odell Beckham Jr., now 2 ACL tears in his career. He's going to be on the wrong side of 30, and he's just a guy who I feel like there's too many question marks. He fits the profile of what you want, an explosive guy. He can do really everything on the field, and he was a big help for the Rams. But this injury really put things in a pickle for me in terms of OBJ. And again, when we talk about personalities, right, guys that obviously are known to have a big personality off the field as well. You want to be able to build the right culture here and get the guys in here that are just, kind of willing to put their head down and go to work. I'm not saying, again, that's a factor or a big problem for me with OBJ or guys like Juju, but if you can avoid them, why not, right? The main thing is the injury concerns with OBJ to me is just too much at this point. I don't know what type of receivers he's going to be. Who knows if he's even going to be ready to start the season, correctly or on time. So too many question marks with with OBJ. I'm getting them confused now. Too many question marks with Odell Beckham Jr., and you know what? To me, I just don't think it's worth it. So don't want Odell Beckham Jr. for the Bears. And finally, number 3, this should be a given, but I'll just say it because somehow I've seen, his name come up. Antonio Brown. I mean, are you kidding me, people? There's absolutely no reason the Bears need to even entertain this. I don't care if we get AB for free. I don't care if AB pays the Bears to play for them. I don't want him. He's too much of a head case, too much of a headache. Can he still play? Sure, but more problems than he's worth. I do not want Antonio Brown. So the 3 receivers that I'm actively looking to avoid: Juju Smith-Schuster, Odell Beckham Jr., and Antonio Brown. And remember I mentioned to you guys there might be a 4th guy, and he's not really a free agent, but the reason I want to bring him up is because I've seen his name out there, right, in terms of people stating that they want the Bears to go after him. And that's Calvin Ridley. Look, Calvin Ridley is a very talented receiver. He showed that last year when he did play. But here's my issue with Calvin Ridley, okay? Whatever Calvin Ridley is going through, I hope he comes out of that, for the better. And I hope he's doing okay. Obviously, he sat out the season for mental health reasons. But if I'm running a football team, I just don't know if I can count on that, right? Calvin Ridley can take his time and do what's best for him and his family. But for me, running a football team, a football organization, if I'm Ryan Poles, I just don't think that's dependable. And if I have to give up a draft pick or two, and I certainly would have to, right, a high one, for a guy like Calvin Ridley, and I just don't know if he's going to play or not, right? It's not dependable enough for me. And so to me, I'm avoiding that. I'm sorry. I can draft a receiver. I can get one in free agency that I know he's going to be out there every Sunday, barring injury. And again, I'm not saying what Calvin Ridley is going through is not important or whatnot. He absolutely should take his time and hopefully, gets the support that he needs. But for me, just from a business and football perspective, I don't want to deal with that, right? So I want guys who I know I can depend on. And we don't even know if Calvin Ridley is going to come back to football. Who knows? So I wish him the best of luck, but I don't want to trade for Calvin Ridley. I really don't. So to me, we'll see what happens. But yeah, folks, the three guys I'm looking to avoid: Juju, OBJ, AB, and then Calvin Ridley via trade and free agent. Via trade is who I don't want. So let me know what you guys think. Agree or disagree? Anyone else? I'm kind of either I love it or I'm fine with. Leave a comment down below. As always,